Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bold and Breaking Barriers. I'm Blessing Bakashaba, your host. And today I have a special guest with me called Saskia. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Saskia, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Yes. Can you briefly tell us who you are? Like, who is Saskia? Just in simple terms.
Hardworking, I would say. Cares about community and supporting the community. I care a lot about young people and their success in terms of like their careers, and giving them a good head start and educating them on what the new ways of applying to jobs are, things like that. But overall, I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old now. I just enjoy helping others. So my skills, my talents that I've accumulated over the years are there to help others.
Oh, that's nice. Good to know. Good to know about you. Especially the 5-year-old. I didn't know you had a 5-year-old.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. So what is your role as the apprenticeship lead at Big Creative Education? And can you please tell us more about Big Creative Education?
Yes. So Big Creative Education is the biggest creative college, or one of the biggest creative colleges in London. We have multiple campuses. So we have our BCA Academy. So that's our academy, mostly level 3 learners. And then we got the BCT training side, which is more of like level 1, level 2, some level 3 learners. And then we have a digital hub, which is our learners that are more focusing on digital things like art and design, or things like media. So they have like a green screen, Adobe Atmosphere room. So there's a lot of things that are there for those that want to go digital. And then we have our creative workspace, which is, as the name says, a creative workspace where people can get hot desks, but also offices. And we sit there, and my team, the apprenticeship team, sits in that building. So we have elements of training. Like I said, we have adult learning courses. So that's for people that are interested in learning a skill within a month. It's a really good course. We have lots of people that are freelancers that might need to learn how to do some marketing. And this is a good way to kind of get your bearings a little bit in that industry. But we also do apprenticeships, and that's my main role. That's where I've been working for the last, it's coming up to 9 years. It's crazy. So like,
Really? You've been at the work for 9 years?
Yep, been in the role for 9 years. I've helped.
Auntie, you must be pushing the boundaries.
I have helped countless of people get into jobs with really cool companies, and I enjoy hearing them on the phone saying, "Oh, thank you so much." And they, people that are really have been trying to find a job for a long time and just couldn't. But there's little things that can be tweaked, so that's my job. I find people for companies that come to us and say, "Hey, we would like to take on an apprentice," and then I go out and find basically the best people for the job.
Okay. That's interesting. You mentioned something about apprenticeships for a month, like trainings, like you mentioned, right? Be creative.
Yes.
For a month.
Yes.
So if someone wanted, let's say if they're doing a course, maybe a master's like I am doing, and want to come and do it for a month, is that also something that they can?
Unfortunately, there are some eligibility criteria, and the main thing is that we're trying to help people that possibly want to change their jobs, or are interested in this specific area and are not doing anything else right now, and this can help them gain more access to like a full-time role. So unfortunately, people that are in full-time education are not able to apply for those, but as soon as they are done with uni, they can come and apply, and they won't be turned away or anything because they have a graduate degree.
Oh, okay. Okay, that was good to clarify. Yeah, to find out. Sorry, that's it. Maybe I can find out life or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was reading on your bio on LinkedIn, I noticed that you have a passion for empowering people, especially young people. I want to know why you passionate about empowering young people to succeed in the creative space.
I think I'm passionate because when I was growing up, I didn't really have those kind of options. I grew up in Germany, most of my life in the countryside of Germany. So there was nothing like, a college that does film and drama and dance and music and things like that, because I probably would have really enjoyed that. So now that I'm in a position where I can help the next generation access those, and plus I want some transition, I want young people in certain positions. I want them to flourish. And so working at a college and just seeing also our college works with predominantly 80% of people from minority backgrounds. So I see young people and I'm thinking, yeah, you can definitely get somewhere, but you need the right support. And unfortunately, sometimes the right support is not always there. So it's nice to be one of them that can give somebody some support where it's going to lead them to a positive outcome, like getting a job, starting their dream career. And Big Creative in general has done that for many years. We've helped many people get into jobs and they're still in those jobs or have grown within those companies. And that's really why I do it. I just want to help the next generation of creatives.
Okay. That's really nice. I like the fact that you mentioned how when you were growing up, those were it wasn't an option. Like there weren't so many options out there that people could come and study this and study that.
Yeah.
So then the fact that you recognize that and are able to give back, because some people will say, because I didn't have the opportunity. Why should other people? People are interested in finding this world. So it's always. We don't take it for granted that people like you are actually willing to give back, because everyone does give back.
But it's also, I see on a daily basis CVs coming in, cover letters coming in, and I can see what the problems are. I can see why some of them are struggling. It's because they are applying in the wrong way. Their CVs is not up to scratch what it's supposed to be. There is no portfolio, especially when you're a content creator. Like anybody that hires you is going to want to see what can you create, what kind of content. So that is one of the main things, like have a portfolio. And I see there's so many that don't have those basic things that I just feel like I need to kind of like, it helps me identify what I need to tell the next generation, what is not working. So I also work with our careers team now, where I interview all of our students before they leave and while they're with us to kind of like gauge where they want to go, what their goals are. And we give them advice and support. So we're showing them like different ways of what they could be doing, the skills that they have, where that could lead them. And that's to kind of prepare them for what is going to come. Because once our young people leave the college, in general, when young people leave college, it's like you're all by yourself. There's nobody taking your hand. There's no parents' evenings. There's nothing. You're by yourself. So I want to give our students a good start and a good mindset, in the sense of, don't give up just because you didn't get that fifth job or that sixth job. Like, think about other ways. How can you do it yourself? How could you work with others and collaborate? Because that's what the creative sector is about. It's about collaboration. It's about living true to your passions. And some people also, they think that what they enjoy doing, like a hobby, is also something that they should be doing as a job. That's not always the case. Your hobby is not always something that you want to do or something that you can do for a long time. Sometimes it's just a hobby. And I always say to all my young people, try out different things. Try out what you like. If you are passionate, you will feel it. You will know that it's your passion. I always have this saying: if you're a dancer or a singer, you always dance and you always sing, and you showcase that. That shows passion. So if you're a videographer or photographer, I expect to see a lot of videography. I expect to see you with your camera around. I expect to see that passion where everywhere could be a shot or everywhere could be a video that I could, record, and it could be a great opportunity. So, a lot of young people need to know those things. And because I'm in the position I am in, I can give some insight tips basically and help them out. And that's my main focus.
Okay. That's an interesting take. Another thing I want to ask you is, how hard is it for creatives to get into the creative industry? Because now you're based in that industry for how long? Because I know you're on, it's been 9 years.
Yeah.
But I know before that you must have been in the already.
Yeah. So I've been doing recruitment for about 10 years now. And before I was a manager at a retail place. So I do have a variety of skills, knowledge. I've done my degree in event management, so I also recruit for a pathway that is an events manager, so I know what is kind of like, if you're hiring somebody for an event, what are they looking for? This is what they're looking for. Okay, this is how the CV needs to look like. Same with marketing and content. So the hardest thing is you're going against a lot of people, and you're going against a lot of passionate people. And there is not as many available opportunities, I would say, for everyone. So, for example, there's a lot of people that are studying animation, and I love that for them, because if they enjoy it, then why not, right? But the problem is, there was a class before you, and a class before you, and a class before you, and there will be a class after you, and a class after you. They all study animation. Only a few of them most likely will go straight into like a job or something because of the quality of their work, because they've been passionate and been doing this for a long time outside of college, outside of school, outside of uni, and have prepared themselves. So they are the ones that they pick. But all the other ones that have studied that for 3-4 years come out and they will struggle with getting in. And the best way, what I can say, is to get out of that struggle is to start creating. So create, work, go to classes, do master classes to up your skill set so that you can create better content, because that's the only thing that will set you apart from anybody else. If you have your portfolio on your CV, if your CV is creative, it showcases your passion that you want to do this job, you kind of do maybe classes around this field, it will help you to stand out, because there will be people coming out of college and things like that. So the hardest part is to get past all of those obstacles. But if you have an outstanding application and your first impression is good, you got a good portfolio, great. I would say marketers, same thing. There is not anymore this thing where marketers can just shine with their degree. I'm not saying that was ever like a massive thing, but like I think a lot of people thought, oh, if I put like bachelor, masters in marketing, that would be enough, and that was for a time, but it's not enough anymore. Now the employers want to see content. So if you have been a marketing manager, I want to see the post, I want to see your strategy, what have you done? If you have not gotten that kind of experience but you really want to get into the industry, start doing this kind of fake thing where you create something that's not real. So you create a business and then you start from making the business their branding, then you go into their social media, create a social media account for that, run the social media, see what you can do, how to work it, showcase like your creativity in terms of making posts, and then you can screenshot those and put them into your portfolio. Even if it's not real, you will showcase that you are able to work in that field. And so it's really about taking initiative yourself. If you can't get the experience that you need, create the experience for yourself. If nobody hires you to be a videographer, take your camera, use your friends, family, people on the streets, people that you know from TikTok, wherever, and work on a project together where both benefit. Even if you didn't get paid, but you got a portfolio thing, you can say that you really work with a business. So yeah, those are hard things to do, but if you want to stand out, if you want to get in, you need to go the extra mile, especially in the creative sector. Your degree most employers don't care really. Like, yes, they think, oh, it's great that you have one, but if there's a student or somebody that doesn't have one, but has the amazing content and what the employer is looking for, they will go for that candidate over the one with the degree, but no portfolio, no work.
Yeah, because you can have the knowledge, but you haven't practiced that knowledge.
Exactly.
So I also need, if it was me and I'm choosing, I'll pick the other who's showing me the work they've done.
Yep.
Or the person goes, sometimes you can study something and it just remains in your head.
Yep, I agree. And for those that want to get into events, try and get some voluntary work down, even if you don't get paid, is what is on there, the experience that you gain from these kind of events. If you want to work for festivals, if you want to work for birthdays, I think it's also helpful to have an SAA badge if you are somebody that's also interested in that, because when you have an SAA badge, you might get more opportunities to work at festivals and events, and that can open your eyes to other possibilities. So it's always think a step ahead, like not just the negatives. Oh, I've been rejected. Okay, what can I do to definitely get in? If I would want to hire somebody, what would I look out for? What would give me like a sign of this is the right person to hire? And that's the mindset that people need to be in, I think, in the creative sector. It's more about character. And that's the same with interviews. When you go to an interview for a creative role, it's about your character fitting in. It's not about your skill level. It's not about what you can do. If you can do great things, but you don't fit with the team, you won't be most likely getting hired, because a creative space is very sacred for a lot of people. So they need to feel good. They need to enjoy the environment that they are in. And if somebody comes in that would break that, it's not worth it for the company. So sometimes when you get rejected, it might just not be for you, because it was never for you in the first place. It wasn't a good placement for you anyway. So it's better, you get the rejection, but then you can move on and you can apply for other things. Those are always there to be opened. And like I said, if you can't find a job on the job market, create something to make yourself more of a skilled person in that field, so you have higher chances, but also create stuff yourself. Be creative.
Okay. I asked you just now about how hard it is for creatives to get into the industry, but then this podcast is also, it's mainly about women empowerment, especially empowering women in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know how hard is it also for just women in generally all the women?
Yeah.
How hard is it for them to get into the industry as well?
I can't really say necessarily it's harder for them to get in. So it could be in certain areas, but in those areas that I work in, it's pretty much a 50-50.
Okay.
So girls and guys get in normally, but there are maybe certain things where it could be a bit more
Encouraging though.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think on the junior level, it is very much like, and sometimes you have employees that definitely want to go for a female because they realize they don't have the balance, so they want to go for a female. Or give them a chance, or they have to recognize that in certain areas maybe the female works better for them or in their team. There's so many reasons why you pick people and what the reasonings are, but normally it's 50-50. I also am like, and I'm somebody that doesn't look at names. I don't really look at your ethnicity. All I look for on your CV is, what's your passion? Do you meet some of the criteria that the employer has given us, i.e. skills that are required? Do you have a portfolio if you want to be a content creator or marketing assistant or marketing manager? Have you gotten any sort of experience? It could be paid or unpaid, it doesn't matter to me. If you have some experience and I can see you've kind of dealt with like certain things. For example, if you want to be a videographer, you know how to use Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, these kind of things, some of them. That always helps, but I don't really look at anything else. So my palette of colors is always diverse: boys, girls, men, female, whatever you want to say. People from different backgrounds. It doesn't matter to me, and so I'll send all of them over, and that's the choice. Then my employer can make who they want to interview and who looks the best on paper. And so far, I must say, I never really felt that any of them really cared about what the person's background was. It was mainly like, would they fit in our team, and do they meet some of the criteria that we are looking for? And that was basically it. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you was, as I said, and I'll keep saying, this podcast is about empowering women. It's already an empowerment podcast. So I would like to know, what tips and advice would you give those young women who want to join the creative industry to either succeed in creative spaces or just want to join the industry to build themselves? What advice or tips would you give those women?
So depending on what you want to go into, my first thing, as I always say, is if you meet the job spec 50%, apply. If you are less than 50%, it's more likely that somebody else will get the job. Because I think most employers will look for somebody that meets at least 50% of the job description and maybe showcases some sort of eager to learn the other 50%. And obviously, because it's an apprenticeship, most stuff that I do, there is a learning element. So you could say, okay, 50% is already there. The last 50%, this candidate would learn with us on the apprenticeship. So always, and this is not just for the apprenticeship, but this is also for like normal roles, because you have to remember, businesses don't necessarily always have the time and the money to invest in getting you trained up. So they need somebody that already has some sort of basic knowledge or has some sort of awareness in terms of their industry that I don't have to babysit and sit next to you and to explain everything to you. You know most of the things. So it's much easier to integrate somebody into a team that is maybe fast-paced, for example. So yeah, job description, a minimum of 50% on there. The rest, you say you're willing to train, you have signed up for, I don't know, a marketing class or a content class, something like that. Then I would say is your CV should always reflect, your personal statement should always reflect your passion. So for example, if you're a videographer, why did you start? Oh, it could be, for example, your granddad gifted you a camera when he was 5, and ever since then you've been in love with cameras, and that's what you do. That's your passion. So I want to hear some of that. And like, how did you progress? Oh yeah, I'm using this camera now. I used to use this camera, so I can see, okay, there is a relationship with this type of industry. And then I want to see, your experience on your skills. I want to see that you've worked with different types of cameras, for example, or you've done maybe programs that are necessary for that role, or you've worked at certain events, or you're good with social media. These kind of things. These are skills that you had to learn. These are being friendly and a team player. Those are skills that you should have anyway. So if I want to hire you, I want you to be friendly to your rest of your co-workers. That's really understandable.
That's a big one, because sometimes you go into a company and I've had somebody in this story. Yeah, you're in a company and you expect the women who are in a company as a young woman, especially young women, have so many stories, yeah, to back you up, to be there for you, but then they're the ones who are actually making you uncomfortable about what's thing. Yeah, so it's like, I thought it's supposed to be, we help each other, we push each other. Yeah, but so that's
it's a very important thing, I believe, to do. So like I said, 50% showcase your skills, not necessarily that you're friendly, but that you're a team player, because that's really what I expect from you. If I sign a contract with you, it would be nice if you could be friendly to your other co-workers, and you'll be on time, and you do the things that you're supposed to do, right? So those are not skills. Skills are, I know what Monday is, I know what Canva is, I know what CapCut is, I know how to use a DSLR. Those are skills. That's what I want to read there. And then when it comes to experience, if you don't have any experience, create experience. So let's say you want to be a marketer, find a business or somebody, or create a business out of nowhere, like out of the blue, and start marketing. Start as if you would do marketing for a real business. Learn new things, sign up for, I don't know, Google's digital garage and things like that. If you're a content creator, go out, shoot content, create content. A content creator is a broad name. There's like videographer, photographer, editor, graphics design, illustration, animation. All of them need to create content in their respective area. If you're an editor, edit content, create a portfolio. All of them need a portfolio where they showcase the work that they have been doing. So this can be like old work to new work. It's always good to see the trajectory of like their learning curve, but main thing is have some content on there. Now, if you have content on there, make sure it's decent content and not something crazy. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff where people were showing videos from music videos, and it was very much like, okay, we didn't need to see that. So try and diversify your content. So one day you do some TikTok content, then the next day you might do a short film, like 2-minute short film. Then you do some music videos, then you do some corporate stuff, so that whoever hires you can see themselves in your portfolio and is more likely to be like, okay, cool, I can see like them doing that work for us as well. So that's your diverse. Yeah, exactly. You're diverse. You can do multiple things. If you are able to add something to your skill set, do it. So for example, graphics designers, if you can add illustration and animation, you have a bigger chance of being somebody that people want to hire. If you are, 3D, showing things in 3D is really important as well, to like showcase that. Yeah. And I think as an events person or female, make sure that you apply, that you are organized, that you have your CV in order, that you maybe have done some voluntary work somewhere, and that you can use some of these programs like Monday, where you organize a team, or Canva to do like posters and tickets and things like that. So those are all things that would help you in terms of getting forward, being put forward for a role. And yeah, don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for nobody to hire you. Don't wait for nobody. If you need content because you need a portfolio, do it. If you need to do marketing, go out there, find a business, find small Instagrammer, YouTuber, ask them if they need help with their marketing and do it for free maybe the first time, and if they like it, then continue with them, or take a little bit of a pay cut, but at least you're building a clientele of people, because if you do good work for them, they'll tell their next influencer friends or YouTube friends or whatever it is, and you will get more business in the end out of it. So it's being self-sufficient. The creative industry is very cutthroat as well, so they don't take I'm the fifth time late, nothing's going to happen, because you know what, creative environments are very, very relaxed environments. So like everybody's cool, everybody having coffee, and some people can come in late and earlier, but the number one thing I always say is like they're very much with you play hard, you work hard. So you still need to get your stuff done. If your stuff doesn't get done, then there's going to be a problem. So yeah, in interviews, ladies, obviously, but this is for everybody. Make sure you ask a personal question. That's my golden tip I always give people, is make sure you ask a personal question. So for example, why have you decided to stay for as long as you are here, or what do you like the most about the company? Because the way it works is that this person is interviewing you will keep you in mind, because you're asking them a very out-of-the-box kind of question that most people don't do. So come up with something unique. Maybe you find the person who's going to interview you on LinkedIn and you realize, oh, he's a football fan. And then, maybe you guys won or they won. And so maybe talk about football. But I would always say, when it comes to the personal question, ask a personal question about why they like to work in the place, why they started the business. It gives them a little bit of a morale boost and a little bit of energy as well.
Yeah.
Because they are like, oh, somebody's, interested in me. Like, oh, that's cool. So they like to divulge, and they will have a good memory of you. So if they then in the end have to decide, and it hinges on one little thing, that could be the little thing that gets you the job over somebody else. So yeah, it's the little things. It's not always the big things, it's the little things.
True. All right. Okay, well, really, really nice having you.
It was lovely being here.
Having you on the B&B podcast, which is actually platform bold and breaking barriers. I invite women who are bold and breaking barriers. This is one of them. So yeah,
thank you so much for having me.
The podcast. I hope to have you again.
Sure.
Yeah, because I feel like we can't have the one conversation, because creating the creative space system being
is
area, and we can talk about different things.
Is
maybe in the next podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for honoring my invite.
Yeah.
Take it for granted. See you guys next week.
See ya. Thank you. Bye.